Hello, good morning. Welcome to the Short Vol Show. And welcome to the Short Vol Show. I guess I just probably ruined my monetization for this by using the Welcome Back Cotter thing, but it's well worth it, right, folks? Rather have some good music than what would I make off the show? $1 in monetization if I'm lucky. Welcome to the Short Vol Show for the day, and we have Match.com earnings and Match.com up. I'm not a big one for conspiracy theories, but if I were, I would point to Match.com because we got all these bearish news stories like a week ago. And I could see Johnny Retail just shorting this thing, saying, well, Facebook is taking over the world and Match.com's going nowhere. And then it just ripped the head off the shorts here so far, Match.com. Let's take a look on StockTwits for a second at this. And let's see if we can pull that up here real quick. All right, so let's see. So Match.com currently up $2. And Beats. There's some other earnings stuff today. Major indices up overnight. Here's some pre-market movers here. So I know Anheuser-Busch is to declare earnings today as well. There's some other earnings stuff going on. But yeah, I guess you can still get a date on Tinder. Let's see if we have some of these other articles. Match trading higher after beating estimates and raising guidance. Tinder remains on fire. Match is a pure-play online dating company that owns Tinder, Match.com, and OkCupid, among other brands. Tinder is the company's most valuable asset and is firing on all cylinders. Paid Tinder subscribers grew 87% year over year to 3.4 million. The app added 368,000 subscribers in the first quarter. Tinder has added 1.4 million paid subs since launching the Gold service last August. So this stuff is extremely popular, folks, and it's a company that is making money in online. It says, to be fair, Facebook's new feature is not really concerted effort to enter the dating market. It does seem unlikely to have a significant impact on Match near term, but it will remain be a sticking point for bears. That's terrible writing for this random article, which I picked up off the internet. So not surprising that the writing's not so great. All right, so let's look at major indices overnight. Backing off slightly, but stuff once again. We notice stuff up as we come in to the day. Let's look at the overnight action. Yeah, it's off a little bit from where it was like an hour ago, but still, that's the story from yesterday. Kind of up and away. Same thing with NASDAQ and YM futures. Really a muted response yesterday to the anticipated news story about Iran. And, volume's been kind of light lately. I did post, which is significant to me, that now the roll yield, or the difference between spot price of the VIX and the front month future, is expanded beyond $1.20. It looks like it's almost $1.23 or 24 now. That is remarkable to me, and look for contango to build. With the VIX down here, we can really see contango building in the front month here as we move towards expiration. So important to keep an eye on that. somebody had posted on StockTwits today, what is the chance of UVXY going below 13 today? UVXY 14 right now, 14 bid at 1401. And whereas, Contango has been building a little bit, and there is pressure to the downside in the long term here for UVXY and whatnot, and other VIX ETPs. The VIX is lower than it has been for a while, and it is hard for this to make like a fast move down. I mean, it definitely can happen here, and if we keep kind of if vol keeps kind of fading throughout the week here as we get closer to expiration, we could see the M1 future move down precipitously. Now, that is going to end up being more of a move. In my opinion, the fallout of the VIX going down is going to move more into like a contango situation where the M1 futures way down and the second month isn't down all that much. And it's going to result in a decay situation for these instruments, but not necessarily in a big down move right now in the VIX ETPs. Remember, the front month future now is becoming a less and less significant component of all of these exchange traded funds and VIX vehicles as they roll out to the second month. The front month becomes less and less significant until it's going to be basically a moot point what happens to that front month future. Now, it is important in that as they do rebalance, these things are losing value, and we are concerned with the contango, but you need to separate in your head. Contango losses are a medium to long term type situation. So whereas we do get excited if the front month future drops a lot in the next couple of days and we go into a deeper contango of say 5 or 10%, that is a long term type situation, and it does not mean that necessarily that these things are going to drop a whole lot in actual dollar value right this second. So we could see this thing go into contango, and we could see the front month future actually drop precipitously. There is, as I said a few seconds ago, $1.20 or $1.19 right now in roll yield. But as we do come into the end of this week, that front future becomes moot. And the reason for that is that all of these ETPs are mostly based on the second month future at this point. So just to reinforce that, I'm going to go back like I like to do to the ProShares website, and we're going to look at the composition of UVXY right now. So, okay, ProShares website, you go to daily holdings. And when you look at this, you're going to see the holdings from yesterday. So, and the waters are a little muddy because we have these swaps and whatnot that contribute to this, which makes things a little bit confusing. But you do see, as far as the futures breakup for this, we've got 25,000 futures of the second month, known as the M2 month, and we've got only 8,000 futures of the first month, known as the M1 month. And that is going to become more and more lopsided to the second month as the week goes on. Expiration is basically a week away, and so the front month future becomes more and more moot. Now, I did want to go to a comment that somebody made in one of the Facebook's groups. Now, this wasn't the Facebook group that I administer. It was a different one, but still a comment that I just wanted to discuss for a second here. So let's go to, all right, so this is the UVXY SVXY Facebook group. And this guy says, will President Trump's decision to pull out of the Iran nuclear deal affect UVXY, and how? Now, that's sort of of course, sort of a loaded question. And as I say all the time, I don't like to get into politics that much. Let me move my mug out of the picture here for a second, a little bit. And the reason I say that's a loaded question is that if we were on some sort of political program or something like that, they might have a different answer to this. But, one single news story or event, it's very, very, very difficult to assess how one single news story or event will affect the stock market and thus UVXY. UVXY is, of course, a derivative product. It is derived from the VIX futures, which in turn are derived from the VIX, which in turn is derived from the SPX, which puts strips, and so on and so forth down the line. So, will President Trump's decision to pull out of the Iran nuclear deal affect UVXY, and how? The answer is yes, it will affect UVXY, but the hard part is the how part, and the answer I have is I don't know. I don't know how it will do that. If you take the event just as it happened in a minute-by-minute basis yesterday, we saw a couple head fakes. The news was supposed to come out at like 2 o'clock, and it was hard to find it at 2 o'clock. I did finally find a live feed of the president at a little bit later. I think it was like 2:15, 2:30. And the market had been down all day just a little bit, and it kind of head faked to unchanged, maybe up a teeny bit, and then was back down again. But the market is an incredibly complex thing. If you imagine all the people sitting in front of their computers trying to figure out what's going to happen with the market, placing their own bets in such a variety of different instruments, and all that combined different activity makes up the market. And so very difficult to predict. Even if we knew ahead of time what the president was going to say exactly, still very hard to predict. There is that philosophy of determinism, which is the idea that if we had every single fact in front of us and every single idea in front of us and all the variables in front of us, would we be able to predict what happened next? And, that's debatable. But, very hard to say. What I can say is that be very cautious to if you have something that you're passionate about, like if you're passionate about politics, be very careful that may cloud your judgment when you're trading. The example I give is that a lot of people were not happy when Donald Trump was elected president, and they got angry, so they sold the stock market, and guess who lost on that one? They did. Conversely, it could have gone the other way. Political events like an election are notorious for being unpredictable as how they affect the markets. So, and I've always said that, the economic cycle is more of a determining factor than anything a president does. Presidents love to take credit when things are good and in the markets, but I've always thought that, the economic cycle is like a big wave. There's trough, it goes up and down, and where the president comes in on that particular wave is determines how the economy does while they're in office to some extent. I mean, obviously, a president can affect the economy in certain ways, but A, it's hard to predict, and B, they have less an effect than they would like you to believe at times, I think. Anyway, I don't want to get too far into political waters because I know that people divide into their two different tribes, and I certainly don't want to get in the middle of that. So let's take a look back at the markets. This is very exciting for us traders on the short vol because things are lining up in a way that is good for short vol people. I refer you to this tweet on Twitter from the Mike King account, and it's showing a chart. It's kind of small, actually. It's not that easy to see, but it's showing a chart of VIX historical prices this year versus last year, and we're seeing, and it shows how like contango was a little bit steeper last year, but we're getting closer to being back where we want to be, and that is definitely true. Things are kind of shaping up for the short vol trade here. We are in contango. The decay will start to show up soon, and we're sort of just right on track right now. And if we have kind of a lazy summer where things just kind of creep higher, then we will get into steeper and steeper contango. As I said before, look to this week. If things continue the way they are, look for the front month future to really drop off towards the end of the week here, because 120 as a roll yield, now down to actually 115, but that is a steep. That is a pretty wide gap between spot and the M1 future, and I would definitely expect that to tighten up towards the end of the week. Still putting together a show on expiration that should occur early in the week. I have a couple people lined up to come on, so that's pretty exciting. Besides that, let's see, we have some other earnings stuff going on. Let's see. All right, so let's see. Benzinga, 22 stocks moving on Wednesday's pre-market. So we've got TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor rose 18.6% to $46 in pre-market trading after the company reported stronger than expected results for its first quarter on Tuesday. TripAdvisor is a company that scares to death those of us who work in the restaurant industry. I work putting on weddings in the summer. I live in a resort area, and I have a side job putting on weddings in the summer. And TripAdvisor reviews are very, very important to all resorts. So it's a company that makes people afraid. So other stocks we've got, let's see. I talked about Match.com already. America Corporation rose 31% to $4 pre-market trading after climbing 181% on Tuesday. So AMDA. Let's take a look at AMDA for a second. I have actually never heard of this company. So that one made a big move up. And I'm sure that's being talked about in a lot of chat rooms around right now. Big popular stocks in the VIX world, or big popular ETPs in the VIX world, were SVXY and VMIN. And SVXY really, by being cut in half, really became much less attractive for people to trade. And it's unfortunate, because I really think interest in there will very much wane now, with it being deleveraged so much. And VMIN is in a better spot, but really just hasn't gotten off the ground yet. We have this chart, which I was looking at yesterday, of just the sideways action that we've gotten in UVXY for a while now. And that's really been the story. We're looking to break out of that, and building contango here, I know I keep preaching it, will make us break out of that. It's mathematically inevitable that if we stay in contango here, that we will break out of it and make lower lows. that is just a few weeks. Let's back this up even further here. So 180 days. You can really see the sideways action here in UVXY, and this is perplexing. A lot of people have been long puts like the whole time here, and it's really, really gone nowhere. However, like I said, this whole period here, we were actually either in backwardation or totally flat, and that's most of the reason why we haven't gone anywhere, combined with the deleveraging of this instrument. But now we are in a situation where we are in contango, and we've been in it for a little while, and we will see this go lower at this point. I guess people are just sort of trying to time right now their shorts. Now, some people are just straight up short the stock or the the underlying, and the clock isn't ticking on them as much as it is for people who are long put spreads or long puts. A great course of action has been lately to be short naked calls, but many people were scared away from being short naked calls after that huge rip, and sort of understandably so. And the VIX has been pretty firm all week, not really moving all that much. And that's sort of understandable because it is at a low, a recent low. But the very low realized vol of the major indices, and just not that much volume and not that much going on is putting pressure on it, and it is sort of creeping lower. I mean, we will take it down 20, 25 cents a day, no problem, especially with it down here. If it breaks 14, that would be a great sign and would set us up to be in more and more contango. This is the normal state of things for the VIX, and things are sort of getting back to normal, and we will see this UVXY and VXX start to truck lower here. VXX, same story as UVXY. If we look at it going out a little ways, it's just kind of like flat. It's been flatlining, right? But back in contango, we will see it move lower and take out the lows. The question is, when will it take out the low of 25.59? I can't tell you that exactly, but we should see it start rolling lower, and it's not going to be much longer in this week. If things continue like they are right now, we will see the M1 future dip, and we should get some really significant contango for at least a few days. And, every day that we roll in contango, even if the M1 future is a small component of things, still that roll is decreasing the value of these ETPs. So exciting news for that. So it should be a good summer going forward. Those of us who have survived somehow the tough period to make money in the VIX, there has been chances to make money in all kinds of other things, and I would encourage you to check out one of the administrator for the VIX, the volatility trade page on Facebook. Clinton Burnell is going to be doing some live trading today, so I would check him out on tradewithzeus.com or on the Facebook group, and he's been very successful in the last couple months of making money, and so I would definitely check him out. When something gets slow, if you've got different stuff that you're watching, different stocks, different instruments, if you are a little bit diversified, at least, when say the volatility space gets a little slow, you can switch over to something else for a little while, and that's what many people have done. I anticipate with contango building up again, and maybe we start to get rolling again, the short vol trade, that there's more interest in this space coming up in the summer. But in the meantime, there are always opportunities to make money trading. And I would encourage you to check out those opportunities. All right, so with the market's getting ready to open a little while. Let's see what time we are. Oh, we're only 8:30. So should be an exciting day today. I know it's kind of frustrating to see UVXY not moving that much lower that quickly, but stuff is happening to the term structure that is putting pressure on this thing to move lower and is decreasing the value of UVXY. So don't fret. It is happening, and value is being lost. So this is an exciting time as we quote unquote get back to normal. I did want to address an article that was in Facebook, but I'm going to take a real short break before that, and then I will be I'll be back to you to discuss this Facebook article, which I found really interesting. But I'm going to take a short break, and then we will be back with that. All right, back with a short vol show. I did find this article in Seeking Alpha today. It says the VIX index will rise and remain elevated. And I definitely can't disagree with some of the points that are made here. It says shrinking liquidity, a looming economic downturn, and seasonality will drive the VIX index upward. Okay, so but I don't 100% agree. If you think about seasonality, we're coming into the summer. I mean, I know that some of this is statistically sort of supported here, but in my mind right now, we're coming into, we're in May, and if we look at this chart here, October is seasonally, according to this chart, October is seasonally higher, but right now we're in May, where it shows us kind of like, in the lowest part of the year seasonally. The other thing, which I guess maybe someone could explain to me this, but I look at this graph and or this chart here, and it shows VIX index here, and it doesn't show the spike from this year on this chart, which confuses me. I agree with this article that the Fed raising rates has a significant impact on funding costs for corporations and individuals. That's the point of raising rates, is that it slows down the economy by making it more expensive to borrow money. But the part where it says the worst is yet to come, I mean, we've had a major event in February with that spike, and it's not necessarily based just on macro stuff, and I don't necessarily believe the worst is yet to come. That was a really pretty bad spike, and 100% up. I read somewhere that the crash of '87 would have been a 300% move, basically, But this is like the biggest spike since VIX has been around. And I think it's a pretty bold prediction that the worst is yet to come. Of course, if you say, well, the market's eventually going to downturn, well, of course, eventually, at some point, it will downturn in the future. But I don't know. I would be curious to hear what other people have to say about that particular article in Seeking Alpha. And then let's look at the this other article by this guy with a great name, Lincoln Edwards. Anatomy of a Blow-Up, How Volatility Spike in February Destroyed XIV and SVXY, Houndstooth Capital Management. This is a very interesting article. I encourage you to check out. And this is on the Facebook group. It goes through the whole series of events that occurred in early February. And it's a pretty good analysis of what happened, kind of walks you through and provides statistics and that sort of thing. So I would definitely check this out. Interesting stuff. It's funny, I was kind of bummed that stuff was kind of slowing down in the Facebook group as far as people contributing, and all of a sudden we got these great contributions. So thank you for contributing to the Facebook group. We want to remain strong and active and have this group really be a teaching and learning group where everybody can learn something. I certainly have learned a lot from everybody in there, so thank you very much. And moving forward, hopefully we can remain strong and be an active group. It's really up to everybody in the group to remain active, so I encourage people to get involved in that Facebook group. There's very many places online in the financial world where people are just looking to make money off of other people and charge for fees for memberships or for advice or this or that. And this particular group is it's free and people can hang out and just talk to each other, and there's no real strings attached. So that's a unique thing and something that I'm proud of. And we've got some really, really good minds in the group. So please check it out if you aren't already, the Facebook VIX group. And so let's take a quick check of the markets again. The E-mini's up 950. VIX down 30 cents right now. Last couple of days is really, we haven't seen that much of a VIX crush. It's just been kind of hanging out within like a 50-cent range. So today could be the day, if we do get VIX crush, and we're going to see the roll start to come in at some point during this week. So if we did get a VIX crush and the roll came in, we could see a significant move down at some point soon. So I would just be cautious if you're getting long these VIX things right now, that there are some serious headwinds. Now, anything could happen in a volatile market, and which reminds me, let's take a look at bar chart and see what Nick has for us coming up today as far as numbers. So let's see, barchart.com. Trump speak doesn't move markets. So Nick today says this is not a correlated market, and he has a bias to the upside. And as far as possible challenges to traders today, so the PPI is out at 8:30, which is just happened. Core PPI 8:30. Final wholesale inventory is 10. Crude oil inventory is 10:30. 10-year bond auction at 1 p.m. So let's take a look and see if we've got any news stories coming out of CNBC.
The issue itself is brought home by your case. And as you've said many times, that you don't care if this is about you. What does appear to be two different systems in America, depending on whether you're a person of color or whether you're not.
Yeah. And it was just basically giving a border.
I don't know if I'm allowed to broadcast that, so I'm not going to. Anyways, thank you for watching today. Thanks for watching the Short Vol Show. Good luck trading to everybody. Looking forward to having some special guests next week to discuss manipulation on expiration and everything that comes along with it. Feeling good today. This is a good day for short vol people, and so it's kind of exciting. So join me again tomorrow, where I will be broadcasting live again, and then we will be off the day after. Thanks for watching, folks.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you hung around, but those dreams have remained and they've turned around. Who'd have thought they'd lead you? Who'd have thought they'd lead you? Back here where we need you. Yeah, we tease him a lot, 'cause we got him on the spot. Welcome back. 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 We always could spot a friend. Welcome back. And I smile when I think how it must have been. And I know what a scene